Let's be honest, we all tune into Loose Women for a specific reason. Sure, the debates are interesting and the fashion is fun, but what we're really there for is the unfiltered, raw honesty. It's the daytime TV equivalent of a group chat with your best girlfriends. And on Monday's episode, Ruth Langsford delivered a moment that was pure gold, a reaction so relatable, so funny, and so deliciously shady that we just have to talk about it. If you've been following the absolute roller coaster that has been Ruth's life over the last year, you know she's been handling her split from EAMONN homes with incredible dignity. But sometimes, a girl just has to laugh at the irony of it all, and that's exactly what happened this week. The moment that had us all cheering. The panel on Monday was stacked with favorites. We had the fabulous Mylene Klass, the wonderful Brenda Edwards, the iconic Sue Cleaver, and of course, Ruth at the helm. The conversation turned to a topic that hits home for pretty much everyone in a relationship: health. Specifically, how involved are you in your partner's health? The discussion was sparked by recent news about former Prime Minister David Cameron. The 59-year-old revealed he had battled prostate cancer, a diagnosis he only caught because his wife, Samantha, urged him to go get tested. It's a classic dynamic, isn't it? The wife acting as the unofficial health manager, nudging or nagging her husband to look after himself. But it was Mylene Klass who dropped the statistic that changed the whole vibe of the segment. With a mischievous glint in her eye, Mylene laid out the cold, hard facts. It is a known fact that men live longer when they're married because they have wives, Mylene explained, before delivering the punchline, and women live longer when they aren't married. Shall we say, you do the maths. The studio went quiet for a split second before the realization hit, and Ruth, she didn't miss a beat. With a cheeky grin and a giggle that spoke volumes, Ruth responded, "Good to know." The shade of it all. You could practically feel the collective cheer from women across the UK. It wasn't a bitter comment, it wasn't an angry rant. It was just a lighthearted, thinly veiled swipe that acknowledged her new reality. Ruth, 65, giggled along with the audience and her co-stars, seemingly delighted by the prospect that her single status might just be adding years to her life. After decades of marriage, the idea that stepping away from that dynamic could actually be healthy for her clearly tickled her. It was a moment of levity that reminded us why we love Ruth. She's going through one of the most difficult transitions a person can face, a public divorce after a long-term marriage, and she's doing it with a smile on her face and a joke up her sleeve. The backdrop, a year of change. To understand why this little good-to-know comment hits so hard, we have to look at the context. It's been a whirlwind year for Ruth. Ruth and EAMONN Holmes were the golden couple of daytime TV. For years, they presented This Morning together, bickering like an old married couple in a way that felt familiar to all of us. When they announced last year that they were calling it quits and heading for divorce, it genuinely sent shockwaves through the showbiz world. We felt like we knew them. Since the split, the narratives for both of them have been very different. EAMONN, 65, has moved out of the stunning home they share and has been very publicly moving on. He's been spotted with relationship expert Katie Alexander, 44, and reports suggest he's settling into a new life. Watching an ex move on quickly is never easy, let alone when it's splashed across tabloids and discussed on social media. That's what makes Ruth's reaction on Loose Women so powerful. Instead of seeming downtrodden or sad about the separation, she's leaning into the positives. She's embracing the freedom. If science says single women live longer, Ruth is apparently ready to enjoy every single one of those extra years. Shutting down the rumor mill. But the good-to-know moment wasn't the only time Ruth has had to address her relationship status recently. The internet, as usual, has been buzzing with wild theories, and Ruth recently had to shut down a bizarre rumor that she had rekindled a romance with a childhood sweetheart. Earlier this month, Ruth took the opportunity to set the record straight in the most hilarious way possible. During a segment about hard-launching relationships, she showed the audience a viral article that had been doing the rounds on Facebook. A massive image flashed up on the screen behind her. It showed a woman standing in a park next to a man, with a caption that screamed Hallmark movie drama, the full story of heartbreak, closure, and a love that came full circle. Ruth, looking utterly bemused by the whole thing, told the panel, "Apparently I have a new man. According to this article, that's all over Facebook, and I've had friends ringing me up." She went on to dismantle the story with facts, pointing out the glaring errors in the fake narrative. Apparently, I met this man when we were childhood sweethearts when I grew up in Belfast, which I didn't, she laughed. And now it's come full circle after all these years and we are back together. Terrible, isn't it? The kicker? The photo wasn't even real. Ruth explained that the mystery man and the woman in the photo had been artificially generated by AI. I remain very much single, she clarified. The pressure to move on. There is something really refreshing about Ruth debunking these rumors. Society often puts so much pressure on women, especially after a divorce, to find someone new to validate their happiness. The tabloids want a new boyfriend. The internet wants a scandal. By laughing off the fake AI boyfriend and cheering at the statistic that single women live longer, Ruth is sending a clear message: I am enough. She doesn't need a childhood sweetheart story to be happy. She doesn't need to be managing a husband's health appointments to feel purposeful. She is thriving on her own terms. Why Ruth is winning the breakup? Let's be real for a second. Breakups are messy. They are painful, confusing, and exhausting. But watching Ruth Langsford over the past few months has been a masterclass in resilience. She hasn't badmouthed EAMONN in the press. She hasn't engaged in public spats. She has simply shown up to work, looked absolutely stunning. Have you seen her outfits lately? And kept her sense of humor intact. When Mylene class said, "You do the maths," Ruth didn't have to say much. That little giggle said it all. It was a release of tension, a moment of camaraderie with the other women on the panel, and a signal to the audience that she is going to be just fine. Actually, scratch that. She's going to be better than fine. If the statistics are right, she's going to be living a long, healthy, happy life. The verdict. We love seeing this side of Ruth. It's high engagement because it's real emotion. We've all had that moment where we look at a stressful situation in our past and think, thank goodness I don't have to deal with that anymore. Whether you're married, single, divorced, or somewhere in between, you have to applaud her attitude. It's not about being anti-marriage, it's about being pro-Ruth. So, here's to Ruth Langsford. Here's to living longer, laughing harder, and knowing exactly when to throw a little bit of shade with a smile. As she said herself, good to know. What do you think? Did you catch this moment on Loose Women? Do you agree with Mylene's theory that women thrive when they're single? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take.